For 66, we're talking about a vector. Remember, it's a vector because you have this arrow pointing that direction with only one side of the arrow filled in. That makes it say it's a vector. And to do that, if you've forgotten the process here, it's best to just go ahead and draw a sketch of what's happening. And so A is 4 over, -2 down. And so 4, -2 is going to be A. And then B is 1 over and 5 up. And it's from the vector goes from A to B. And so this is our vector that we're worried about. And remember, when we do coordinates, what we're going to do is we're going to take the vector and we're going to move the vector over so that its endpoint translates over to point the origin. And so we're just going to shift it over. And the way we think about that is, well, what do I need to do to the coordinates of A to shift it over? Well, I need to subtract them. I need 4 minus 4 gives me the 0 of the x coordinate, and then -2 minus a -2 gives me the 0 of the y coordinate. And so the way that we learn about that is we say you take the terminal point, that is the endpoint, and you subtract from it the initial point, and that gives you the coordinates. And so it's going to be, and remember, you use these brackets that look like that. So it's going to be 1 minus 4, and then 5 minus a -2, which gives me -3, 7, which based upon my drawing, yes, it's very believable that this point is -3, 7. So our coordinates are -3, 7. The direction, and so the direction we're looking at is we need to find this angle. But we know we can find that angle because that coordinates of that point there are -3, 7, which means the side of this right triangle is 3, and this side is 7. And so if I want that angle, I can say the tangent of the angle is equal to, and remember the way we did it was, it's just the absolute value of y over x, because tangent is opposite over adjacent. And so I do tangent, the inverse tangent of 7/3, and that gives me 66.8 degrees. But then you also have to name what that is. And so this angle right here is north. It's above the x-axis, north of, and then the x-axis, negative x-axis is west. And so we call this north of west. We're above the west-facing line. If we were below it, we'd be south of west. If we were on the other side, it'd be north of east or south of east. And then the magnitude is just the length, and so that's the easiest one to find. So our magnitude is just going to be the square root of 3 squared plus 7 squared. It's just applying the Pythagorean theorem, right? You do 3 squared plus 7 squared equals m squared and go from there. And so that's going to give me the square root of 58. And so it asks for it in simplest radical form. And so the answer is just square root of 58.